Cool. So that's fine. Don't worry about that. We can always edit that more.
Okay.
So basically, my questions. So we're going to be asking questions like, we have been finished our transformation training, and when you started the training, you were vegan, you know, and that was a nutrition thing. And what was your thoughts and mental, you know, picture before you started? And you didn't start for a while. And then that you took that time to understand, and then you were like, you know, now I want to go. So what was happening the few months before when you were doing it all by yourself? What was your thought process there?
Okay. So I mean, as you know, before I started training with you, I was training by myself for quite a while, and unfortunately, due to obviously not having the proper knowledge about proper training methods and also a lack of nutritional understanding, I was training very frequently, about 6 times a week. But for whatever reason, I was still gaining body fat. My muscle was not growing, and in fact I started to look worse and worse and worse and worse. And it was very demotivating and also demoralizing because you know, when you go to the gym, you want to look better and you want to feel better, and you know, those two things go hand in hand, and it just didn't happen for me. And you know, before I met you, I started to invest some time in kind of, you know, trying to get a basic understanding of what kind of foods I should be eating and things like that. But I was making progress, but the progress was almost glacial. It was so slow, you know, you know, even though I was losing weight on the scale, again, I didn't really look any better, and that was mostly probably due to the fact that I was also losing muscle, because I didn't really have that level of understanding that you do. And what kind of spurred me to begin my training with you was just this overwhelming sort of frustration at not progressing the way I wanted to be progressing, and it was kind of leading to just, I guess, stress and anxiety, and I was not feeling confident as well. I would never take my shirt off at the beach, and that's a weird thing, because when you're killing yourself at the gym, at the end of the day, you want to be able to take your shirt off at the beach. That's exactly, feel good about yourself.
Awesome.
And that's when I really kind of, I guess, also had a chat to all of your previous clients and sort of got their insights into your training style and training methods, and knowing you personally and knowing that you were vegan as well, that was a big thing for me. Because as a vegan, even though you have a lot of food choices out there, it's very easy to sometimes not necessarily it's very easy not to eat enough protein as a vegan if you're not really sure of all the different things you know that's out there. And I was probably on a very high carb, low protein diet. And so unconsciously, completely unconsciously. I mean, I was eating tofu and things like that, but probably nowhere near enough to where I should have been. So that was something that was really important to me, was that you were literally able to relate to me on that just diet level and just give me so much advice. And you know, my food choices were very, very limited before I started training with you. It was the same thing every day, and I never really left my comfort zone. And then when I started to train with you, I discovered like a whole range of foods out there. Not only because you suggested them to me, but also because, you know, I started to look more at the specific macro content of foods.
So now you're more conscious and aware of what are the things that I'm looking for in a food. Even though it's vegan, we can get it, but you just got to look for the right food.
Look for the right foods. Look for the right foods, and also once I learned that from you, being able to actually identify what foods are, you know, fit my sort of macro profile, as you will, I started to see that, you know, there's no such thing as good or bad foods. It's just food is just made up of these different macros, and if you can find something that fits your macros, it's okay. That's it.
So it's pretty much flexible dining,
flexibility,
and giving you the freedom to understand you can actually choose the foods which are right for you, but having a plan before. So gives you the awareness, it gives you clarity, and it gives you a plan, and then you can go outside, you can have the food that you love without sacrificing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So cool. So how big was nutrition, and how big was the workout strategy that we used, the software and everything like that?
I mean, it felt like when the nutrition was where it needed to be. The workout intensity, my ability to lift heavier, my ability to constantly push myself in the gym, it just started to escalate week by week. I was able to do more and more and more. And I mean, obviously the fact that we were having that weekly weight session together really helped as well. It was very motivating, and when the nutrition, the way you kind of almost like fine-tuned it and tailored it specifically for me, the progress was so incredibly fast to what was happening before.
Correct.
After the first 2 weeks, I could already see a noticeable difference.
Yeah.
And you know, that not only increased my confidence and my positivity, reduced my stress levels, I was sleeping better, I was happier. And then that just like that whole positive mindset just translates into the workouts. And
exactly. Yeah. Cool. From now on, obviously you've done the whole program, you've understood how to do nutrition, you've understood how to do weights. How much the strategy with the weights that we use at times with the software that we have helped you gain clarity as it did with nutrition?
It helped a tremendous amount. I mean, the program that you gave me and the way I was able to utilize that program to not only track what I was actually lifting every single week, but also gain an understanding of, you know, what I needed to lift this week if I wanted to improve on my results from last week. It just made it so it kind of almost took a lot of the thinking, and you always like to say the logical mind, and just allow me to kind of switch it off, just look at what I need to do. And as you always say, numbers don't care about your feelings, so you just look at what you need to do and you
break the record. So you would say you pretty much broke your personal best?
Yes.
Every week for the
did.
almost last 20 weeks, we pretty much nailed down every exercise.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we did have that, you know, there was some points along the way where it felt like, you know, I needed a deload week or something like that. But I would come out of that, you know, well rested and start breaking records straight away. And if I didn't break the records, I knew why I didn't break the records. It was normally something that maybe I wasn't, you know, eating what I should have been eating the days before, and you know, all of those things go hand in hand. But when everything was going the way you told me what I should be doing, and when I was doing that, everything just sort of fell into place.
Perfect. Awesome. Last question.
Sure.
If someone's about to start their vegan body transformation journey, what would your top tips be for them? Someone who has not done training before, or they have might done training that like you were, they were somewhat aware of the food like you were, but what is the one thing that you would say to your old self or someone who is just about to do the life transformation?
I think the most important thing is understanding why you want to go on this journey in the first place, understanding what you want to get out of it. You know, you don't do this program because you want to get a quick fix for all of your problems, or you suddenly want to go from, you know, you suddenly want to look like Hercules or whatever it may be. Understanding that this is all about sustainability. And you know, one thing that Gav has given me now after these 20 weeks is really almost like a recipe heading forward in the rest of my life, for my nutrition, for my weight training. Like, I feel it's completely changed the way I approach weight training for sure. And I think if you're going to do this, just understand what you want out of it, so that when you do go on this 20-week journey, you'll be able to get the most out of it. And
because obviously, you know, someone who's just starting, you know, they will have so many thoughts around it and stuff. For them, if you were to say what is more important, nutrition or training, what would your intake be? Because before it was important, but right now when you understand that, how important are both?
I would say nutrition definitely takes the #1 place. And it's funny because I was one of those people that I would think I was, you know, putting in the intensity in the gym, and I probably was at that point for what I was able to do. And I would put in all this work in the gym 6 days a week, and then the moment I would leave the gym, the work would almost stop. You know, my nutrition was all over the place, and I think most people have these unconsciously bad habits that they formed over just years and years and years and years. And it's like the moment you leave the gym, that's when you've got to put in the real work. That's when you've got to be mindful of what you're eating. And at the end of the day, if you're putting in the work at the gym, put in the work outside of the gym.
Yeah.
Because that's you owe that to yourself at the end of the day.
Cool. Sweet, man. Pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
20 weeks.
This is amazing. Thanks,
Legend.
man.
Cool. Thanks for this, Mal.
No, my pleasure.
This is gonna be